like YouTube may even be trying to stop it for some reason. I don't know why. Oh, hang on. Are we back up? Are we in now, I think? Here we go. We're in. Somehow we got in. Anyway, I don't know how or why, but it's now working. Welcome, guys. Hopefully this will actually will actually work. So it's Twitch is not a problem. It's actually just the YouTube output. But YouTube, it looks like we are now back in. So hi, Sketic. How are you going over on YouTube? So I think we're up and running. Hopefully this will then stay here. And I know that I've had issues during the rest of over the last couple of days. So hopefully this will actually now be fine. We'll see how we go. I'm not confident at all. All right, let's get into it. So continue an active game. I did click on it. There we go. So we're playing The Land of Man is the one that we actually have. So Lena Onino, I think, is the one that we're actually using. This was the the White Heart. That was actually, this is now confusing me a little bit. Just go into there. Razor Wealth. I'm sure this is it. Late autumn of 304. Let's just open her up and just make sure this is the right one. So hopefully, if it does crash out, if YouTube sort of ends up crashing out, I won't know basically until it's the end of the session. The last couple of days it's been crashing out after about half an hour, so I'm hopeful that it's going to be fine. Here we go. This is the one that we wanted. So we've still got we've sort of got a lot going on in the fortress at the moment, and we have a lot of things we need to go and start to pick up. Now this particular area is where we're setting up the the archery aspect, where there's a way where we can actually then sort of just come back in and set up the archery targets. So we'll just clean up. Actually, that's already been done. That's fine. So we'll just let that actually happen. That will be not a problem. Back in through here, we ultimately wanted to then start to put in some beds and make this into a barracks, like what we've done pretty much over here. So we'll actually, and I'll also put some doors in as well. So I'll just go and place some structures. One thing I might change actually before we even do this is the work orders. Like how many doors do we build at a time? Because we only sort of do one at a time, I think. And things like doors, I just need so many of them. We're making one bed at a time. I'm sort of happy enough with that. But the doors, how many are we making one door? I'm going to change the number of doors to 3 at a time. So just so that we sort of queue up three to be built every time we build a door, every time an order comes back up. I don't think there's much else that we really need to be worrying about too much in this one. I think that's all okay. Yeah, we're making other things. That's fine. Let's just leave that one back where that is. And we'll just go and start to just place everything that we need. So just go to furniture, to bed. I'm just going to go to planner. And ultimately we'll need like a fair few beds in here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That'll do for now. And we then just need to also then put in some other furniture. So we just go back to furniture. And in this case, we'll put in actually it's not furniture, it's military. We need a armor stand, like a few armor stands. Let's go and place these around the place. And we need also weapon stands as well, weapon racks. That will do us, and we also then need doors, of course, so we'll just go back into constructions, doors. Actually, that was not it. Doors in through here. Hi, Sigmundo and Thomas Bella. How you guys going? And hi to everybody on Twitch as well. All right, so we've got the doors. Again, I'm just going to place these. Yeah, we've got a big long list of doors that we need to be building in the fortress. And that will be okay. So this is the main corridor up into the top of the fortress. So I'll just leave them where they are. As we came down, we actually had we've just had now Nobility. This dog has still got a rotten leg, so it's sort of off on its own. We've got lots of puppies now, so we're going to be able to start to train up war dogs very, very soon, which would be good. So we'll wait for them to grow up, and then we'll sort of create war dogs from those. Now this is actually, yeah, I'll just unpause because this is actually what we're now trying to build. This is going to be the Baron quarters. Yeah, we need turkey leather by the looks of things. We'll get that eventually. Poults have hatched. Dingo's reverted. That's okay. It doesn't really matter that much. Got one hostile. Who's that? Oh, down here. That's Forgotten Beast. Funny, I thought there was two of them, but anyway, that's okay. Got two groups of citizens are stranded. Now that's right. We needed to fix up these kids. We've managed to get them back inside their little areas, and there we go. We're still waiting on this door here, which is in position in line 38. Make that the top priority. So we want that door to be filled in immediately if we can. And then we sort of need to get them into this room here once that's been fulfilled. So these are were creatures which on the full moon will then change. Just keep on having a look down. We're doing fairly well in this fortress. Got a bit of gold now as well. So there should be orders for smelting gold back and around the different places. Just make sure there's nothing else that we need to worry about here. That's all okay. Oh, here we go. The priesthood is ready to be recognised from the temple's location menu. So this is actually now the petitions that we actually have. So we do actually have, we'll come back to this one in just a second and explain what's going on with that one. So the game gets sort of more complicated as you play it. And so what we've done here on this level is put some gold levels down through here with these different temples. And if we go to our zones, we can then start to sort of see the actual temples themselves. This one's got 3 candles, this one's got 3, and this one's got 3. So these are now all at temple status. And so when we have a look at them, we can then sort of start to sort of see what's going on with them. This one here, for example, is just a shrine. It's only got one candle. So as they improve, like overall, the zone will then tell you what's going on with it. So we've increased the value of these 3 rooms here. To actually allow the temples to sort of come into being. Now, which ones have we got? We've got the Chapel of Controlling and the Just Shrine. Now, we did set these up already. If we have a quick look and see what we've got through here. This is a temple. Yep, so it's actually worth about 3,000. Next level, if we go up, is going to be at 10,000. And I've got to figure out where we actually go with this one. Let's just go and have a look at the, not the citizen menu, the petitions outstanding. So we've got the Tool of Dusk, a farmer's guild, needs to be established as well. And then this one as well, the Divinity of Rights, worshipping Kira. So we need to actually set this temple up. Now, I don't know which one of these are set up for that, to be honest. So I'm going to have to figure out what to do there. Now, what else was there? We've got another temple down through here, which I might, like, there's so many people that actually congregate down into this temple. I might sort of have a look. That won't be that temple. That's not going to be it. The Shrine of Principle. If you have a bit of a look to see. No particular deity. This is just sort of like a bit of a general one. But I might increase the value of it just to sort of make the people who pray there a little bit happier. We've got a fair few unhappy dwarves. Hi, Began. How are you going? And hi, Tenuous Rook. So with these different temples in here, so we've got Kira was the one that we need to set up. Let's have a look at this one and see. So this was actually the priesthood of the Divinity of Rights is ready to recognise. So we'll satisfy the agreement. So we do need the priesthood of the Divinity of Rights needs to be established. So if we, again, just have a quick look at this one here. This is the Temple of Burials, but that doesn't mean that it's not it. And so this is a temple, a brother of Ends is sort of where this one's coming from. This one's only worth 2,000, but it's enough for it to become a temple. We'd established this one already with this one's called the Holy Ghost. This is the leader, the main priest from this particular one, which is fine. We do need to get instruments. That's something we will have to sort of start to get in the actual temples themselves. What's this one here? This is the Maternal Ways. Oh, we've already done this one as well. The Sacred Muscle is the priest here. In that case, it must be this one here. So we recognise priesthood in this one here. So this is actually going to be for their last one. And so there's 11 worshippers that will come into this particular area. And this is the Sacred Zenith. So we just need to go and add a priest into this one. And so we have, like, one of our weavers is a skilled liar, skilled intimidator. Consoler and pacifier is our gem cutter. We do actually have Esrel. Got a doctor there as well. I don't want the doctor moving off to do other things. The weaver is not all that important anywhere else. I might pop him in there so he can lie his way through the religious ceremonies. Thank you, Began, there for the gifted subs. That's incredibly generous. Thank you for that one. The Spartan saying, is this a continuation of the tutorial fort? No, it's not. This is actually the main fort. I'll do a summary as to where we are with it. And this is much further on than what the tutorial fort was. Very, very basic. So let's just go back through and do a bit of a history, I guess, as to what we've got. Actually, before I go, we'll just double check that this is actually still active, which it is. That's good. All right, I'm now really worried that YouTube is going to crash out at some point. Obby Wolf is saying good morning, so good morning back. And my only frame of reference for this type of game is RimWorld. Does every dwarf have individual needs and activities, or are they kind of aggregated? They have individual needs. I'll go through the whole lot. Actually, I'll spend a bit of time just to show what's going on, because we're 4 years into the actual game at the moment. So we're sort of, which is a fairly long time in Dwarf Fortress. And you can see we had heaps of dwarfs. Back in here, but I'll just go back up to the top. This is the top of our fortress. So we actually have like an area where down below we've got like an open area ready for the caravans to come. So when we actually have caravans, they're going to go up this ramp onto that little area through there. We have a drawbridge that runs across into the fortress itself, and then we actually have like a trade caravan in through this other side. Any goods that we're getting ready to sell, which is just going to be cheap and nasty things, get placed in here, ready for the trade caravans to come. So this is our trade area on the top level of the fortress. We have another entry, which is where we started in here. So this is actually where we have some more traps in around the place, just cage traps. Just that will catch, the cage traps will catch sort of like wildlife, things that aren't sentient. Like in a siege, they're not going to be all that effective, but they're fine for other things. They will actually capture animals and so on and so forth, just in these sort of type of things. And even thieves and stuff can end up being caught in those particular areas. This one, we've got a ramp that goes up, just a small ramp, and then a ramp back down into the bottom here, with a hatch there which is unlocked, but we do actually have a drawbridge above it which can then sort of seal this in. So if something makes its way in here that we then want to capture and sort of control, I can drop the drawbridge that's here. So you can see this is called the backlid bridge is what we've actually named this particular bridge. So I can rename anything in through here, but this is actually a bridge that sort of then just closes over the top. So if I have to lock the fortress down, that's one thing I can do, is to pull that bridge down, and that will then lock it. Similarly, back over through the other side, when we've got the actual main entry, I can raise this drawbridge here to then lock off the fortress here as well. One of the things you'll sort of notice now is that the walls, like these type of walls, are just standard walls which can be broken through in sieges. These are reinforced walls which are much more difficult to break through. So I've sort of got like different ones in through there. Having said that, this is not all that great. Where I've got underneath here, all I've got is just silt, and so besieging forces could actually come and dig through this and then dig up into the fortress, and or even just keep on digging all the way through to the staircase. So we're going to wait and see what happens when we do get a siege. So we're sort of trying to prepare the fortress for a siege. Above this level, we've then got like one big siege weapon in through here, ballista, and so we're sort of trying to get that one ready to fire, and it's firing through fortifications. So we've got fortifications all the way around. On the next layer up, I've got fortifications everywhere through here, and this will ultimately be where we end up with our archers. So the archers will ultimately, and we haven't really established them properly yet, but they're going to be up through here. And then above that, we've got a roof layer. So the roof layer is completely sealed off. It's now snowing outside, and so it's collecting snow on top. So that's sort of where we are with the fortress for the top of it. As we come down this central staircase, this is our main staircase into the fortress now. Goes a long way down because there's a lot of aquifer. If I go and click on this one through here, you'll see there's aquifer all the way. Look, we had many levels of aquifer to sort of get through before we could actually then start to establish our fortress. Just turn them off. And so our fortress then sort of starts here below the aquifer. And what I've done is I've established my main military just off to the side. So if we do get attacked, the military should be training in this room. I'll talk a little bit about the squads that we have. So we've got one military squad in here. They've got a bedroom in here and a training room in here. This is my melee attackers, and this includes this guy does happen to look like battle mode when he arrives, so we named that one battle mode. But we've got like a lot of these guys are going to be the sort of like the backbone of the fortress when anything does sort of happen. Began through there, as you can see, is actually the Baron of Razor Wealth. He's just become the Baron, so we now need to establish this as a barony. But he is a Mace Lord, he's one of the high level fighters that we actually have. So we've got some fairly high level guys. We've got some recruits as well. What you'll notice is that the high level guys tend to be all dressed in steel, whereas the recruit type people have this is actually the Baroness. So that's actually Began's wife happens to be in here as well, training. But she's must be fairly new to what's going on. I'll come back to these guys and we'll talk about their skill sets and stuff like that as to how things are then working. Down through here we have building, like stuff ready for building. We've got bars and blocks in through here with granite blocks. We've got copper in through here to then make the reinforced stone. So we've got everything sort of ready for building at that point. Back over this side, we've then got another, what's going to be another barracks, which we're just building at the moment. And then this is going to be and ultimately what we'll do in through here is actually set this one up. In fact, it's almost ready to do that now, is to establish like archery training. So these will be the archers that then position themselves at the top of the fortress. So they'll be essentially a permanent guard that will patrol the top level of the fortress to look out just in case they can see anything coming. So that's sort of where that is. We go back down through the stairs even further. The cage traps, when they do catch things, we end up with them caught in here. So we've got badgers, emus, a lot of animals in through this other side that have been caught in through this other side as well. Anything that's sentient, we've caught a few goblins as well that have tried to come in and steal children. So they're actually now caught in here. So we just got them sort of in this particular stockpile. We've got a dog training area, and we've just got a whole lot of puppies. We do have a one war dog. We're going to be making these puppies into other war dogs. So eventually they'll be trained up to become like a fighting force for us to then use in the fortress. So we've got a couple of war dogs in there already, but then we need more and more and more of them. So I want to just end up with a lot of war dogs. I'll come back and maybe, if we get time, I'll talk about other things that are actually happening with that one. By the way, this here is actually where we can go and collect the arrows that fall as the guys train in this room. Ultimately, they will actually then, the arrows will then hit the back wall, fall onto a ramp. When they fall onto a ramp, they don't break, and so and then they can be picked up from there. But it's still dangerous for dwarves to be coming and picking up arrows if anyone's actually training in the area above it. All right, continue on down. So we go deeper into the fortress. We have a bedroom layer here, but it's not connected to this area. This area is now sort of isolated. So I'm keeping this one just purely for military. It comes all the way down to this area through here, which then continues on down into this room. It then goes across this little area through here, back up, and then we have a hatch that I can then lock. This can then be still broken through in a siege. and then from there it can then come back through, and we have another drawbridge here to block off this area of the fortress, and another drawbridge here. We have to be very, very careful now with our security with the siege update. And so we've got a few different areas in through there. This area continues on down into other areas of the fortress. This one goes down essentially into our farming area. Now, this is not going to be all that secure, unfortunately. So we sort of do have like an area where we've got the farming area in through there. We've got seeds where we've put all the cats in there. That will then sort of keep the rodents down. And in through here, we're actually building the guild. You'll see that there's one petition outstanding, and that is for a guild hall. For the Farmers Guild. So this area through here ultimately will need to be a guild hall for the farmers. And we're just waiting for the doors to be sort of then positioned back into there. And so this is like one of the cavern layers where we've just established some farming just to sort of keep the food going. You can see we've got heaps of food, heaps of drink, heaps of seeds. So this is really just it's very, very healthy what we actually have in here at this point in time. Further down inside this door, we have our grazing area. We've got like lots of animals down in here. These will be automatically milked or sheared or whatever we need. So we can get wool from, for example, the ram. They'll have babies, like there's foals there. There's a mule foal, there's a donkey, there's a horse foal. So we've got a couple of stray horses, stray donkeys, etc., etc. There's a reindeer calf. So any animal that comes into the fortress gets placed into here if it's a grazing animal. And we'll sort of see that there's lots and lots of little babies and stuff that are sort of coming out around. But we have a thing in DF hack called Auto Butcher, which will then just go through the animals that we have. And if we get more than what we need, it will then just kill them off. So I've changed the dogs, for example, in Auto Butcher. I might show you that in just a minute. This is that staircase down. In through here, we have like a largish area, which is sort of like a bit of an unusual one. That Forgotten Beast that we were looking at, this hostile unit here, which is wandering around on that cavern layer, is actually has already killed off a couple of different dwarfs who happen to go outside. So we need to keep this one away. And we tried to trap it. We tried to trap it inside. If I just go back up again into which area is it? Sorry, I'm looking for where it came in. Into this area. So we've got a goblin here, which is a goblin thief, which we've actually put this on a copper chain, but it can't see its way through the door. And I was hoping to capture the Forgotten Beast by having it sniff out this particular unit, but it hasn't actually gone in there to sort of find that particular goblin. So that was a bit of a trap. So we could then close this bridge to trap the Forgotten Beast in there. But it may be that the door is the problem. It's funny because I can't actually go and let any of my dwarves go in and actually work in this room because the goblin will be aggressive, and because it's only attached to a chain, so it's just tied up there. You don't need to feed these, by the way, when they're like this. If you've got animals that you get, like in terms of if you buy a cow or a horse or something like that, and it's in a cage, you do need to feed them. But you don't. If you capture something, you don't need to feed it. This is another door here. I've got another dolomite door which has been sort of locked down. We just have like a secure area in through here in this part of the cavern layer. Nothing can really get into there. Going further down, we then sort of go back across, and this is actually where my mining is sort of happening, and I don't really know what's going to happen down in here. So we've got like different, we've got limonite, which is like an ore of iron, which will then sort of continue on back down. And so we've just been essentially sort of trying to find resources, but we also are doing mining. This is ready for mining, for example. We've got a whole lot of galena in through this other side, which is an ore of silver and lead. So we can get silver and lead from these materials. So we've just been mining those. By the way, if you are this is actually sort of I've marked this area for just to block it off so that I can auto mine anywhere. If I don't do that, these galena walls will then be exposed to the to what's actually opening through here. But at the moment, this is solid wall. So I sort of just made a solid wall around where my mining can take place. If I find anything on the other side, I'll then just need to lock off another area with marker to then be able to then mine inside there, which I'm not going to worry about. So yeah, this is all this stuff that we sort of had down through this other side. More galena down this way. This is a layer where we don't actually have any problems with the with it sort of with it breaking through into the underground areas. So I can just allow it to go anywhere it likes. So all I did was where I've got like a galena wall like this, for example, I've just been going in and just doing it like the mining, and then I can actually just go into the advanced options, and then we can just go into like auto mine. So I can go across, so dig only ores and gems selected. So if I go and click on that one and this one here, they will just continue mining all the galena from that particular one. So if I'll just go back to all there and just send it back that way. So the miners will now just come and keep on mining galena, but it's safe in this area, so I don't need to worry about it. So we'll just continue on down through this area. So this particular area I was trying to find. See, this is an area that I can't. If I do mine the galena from here, I need to then block off so we don't crack into the under. This is like the third cavern layer, so I don't want to be doing that. Just go further and further down, finding different bits and pieces. Started to sort of try to find other things I could then go and mine, but I didn't find anything on this layer. I'm looking for different materials as well. I've got graphite in through there. Down through here, you can see it got a bit messy down in this area. This is actually a bit of an interesting one. So we blocked off this area because we found an interesting column that sort of ran through the middle of all the different Z levels of the fortress, and below that we actually have like a whole area of, well, there's an area there of in fact, if I go down to this is the magma layer. So we've now sort of found like where the magma is, but you see how there's this big core full of gems in through here with the magma, and as I go down, actually we're not seeing it there, but that there is actually like a core of all sorts of different things. As I come back up, it was in this area, so I started to try to mine it from this area. It will continue on up above it as well, and it's sort of interesting. In here, I can sort of see there's like a little bit of a rose quartz cluster. That's not going to be all that valuable, but it may continue up into here somewhere as well. So by finding these areas, and you can see there's magma actually inside this region. In fact, one of our guys ended up, there's a, where is it? It's one of these obsidian walls. One of our miners ended up being caught inside, the lava came at the same time that there was some water, and it actually basically made an obsidian block. So we've actually got one of our dwarves stuck inside one of these walls, and dead, of course. And so it sort of goes on and on. So it's actually, so we've sort of been digging down. I do like to know where the magma layer actually starts and where it does go. And this is a very, very dangerous cluster of, you can see it's got diamonds and very, very valuable things. So if the dwarves can mine this, they'll do quite well. We had water in through here. You can see that there's giant bat blood, for example. So they've caught certain things. There's been some attacks going on in this area. There's mud everywhere because there's also water in this. In fact, I'll see if there's anything. You can see there's heat there. So for example, if I there's very likely going to be magma inside that as well. So mining this is very, very dangerous. So it's actually quite a dangerous area. There's some moisture on the walls, so there's probably going to be some more moisture in around this other thing as well. So it becomes quite dangerous. Thanks there, Cygnus, for the subscription. That's very, very much appreciated. The poor miner says Zaradin. Was it you? I forget who it was. It was in one of our named dwarves. Anyway, that's sort of what happened in that particular room. And so that's the bottom of the fortress. I'll just go back up to F2. So this is actually, again, that area where we sort of came down and then back up into the main part of the fortress. So the main fortress comes along this area through here and then into this corridor. This area continues on. This is actually where we first entered the fortress. So we actually have like a zone in here, which is sort of like my catch-all. I'm still using it, but I should actually start to get rid of it now. But this is actually like where we've got this is like our first storage area for the fortress. You can see there we've got like tetrahedrite back in through here on the walls. But this is then the staircase. This staircase goes up. I accidentally started to build another layer for bedrooms, and this one actually accidentally cracked through into that particular bedroom layer, so we'll have to lock that one off. As it sort of comes back up, it then comes back up through the aquifer and then back up to the top, a few more cage traps, and then outside into this area that we sort of started off with. So that was the first area in the fortress to get us in here. We then come across into the main part of the fortress itself. So I've got like different statues of things that happen that are important in the fortress. So and this is one of the things, you can actually go and commission statues that tell you certain things. Sorry, I'll come back to the actual questions in just a minute, and so I will sort of answer these in just a minute, Chris. So if I have a look at the gold statue, we can then sort of see that this is, and so I commissioned this statue. I can have a look at it. So this is a gold statue of Red Shirt Heart Links. The statue is a rendition of the short hammers, an image of Red Shirt the dwarf and Seeker Rhymed Bud the elf. So Red Shirt Heart Links is striking down Seeker Rhyme Budded. And Red Shirt is striking in a triumphant pose. The image was commissioned by the Painful Deep, a local dwarven government. So Red Shirt, who is in the fortress, has actually had like a notable kill. Now Seeker Rhyme Budded was an elf, but it was also a were bison, and it's actually caused a lot of drama in the fortress. These kids were bitten by Seeker, and so these are now also the two children in those two rooms there, which they've been locked in, are also were-bisons. Every full moon, they're going to change into a were-bison. So we need to sort of keep them isolated from the rest of the fortress. But Red Shirt killed off the were-bison, which was that particular elf. So that's sort of what's happened in through there. We have our main staircase now sort of up and down the fortress in here, which is sort of like, this should be the safety zone for the fortress. There shouldn't be nothing nasty that really gets into here. It did. The were-bison actually came in here and then transformed when it was actually in this room. And so it came in as an elf visitor and then transformed into the were-bison. We had massive attacks all the way down through here. A few people got killed, a few of the dwarves got killed, but Red Shirt was the one who finally did the killing blow to sort of kill it. So that's sort of what happened in that one. In through here, this is my lever room. I always like to have a lever room near where there's lots of dwarves, just so that somebody can quickly run across and pull the levers. The way I do these is I name them. So you can see we've got main drawbridge, we've got inner block west, inner block east, and then I go and this one's inner block east as well. This is the actual bridge itself. That's inner block west. So I can just very easily see just by clicking on them and then just naming them. So I can see exactly what they're going to be doing. We've got the back inner door. We've got the back lid bridge, which is the one at the top of the fortress we were looking at before. And then I've got those other cavern layers in through here as well. That granite lever there is actually, if it's got only one mechanism, it's not connected to anything. So this is actually one that I haven't been able to connect yet because I don't want to go outside with that forgotten beast. So that one is not connected. It's going to have to be at some point. Anyway, as I build drawbridges, this is actually where they then get activated from. This is my main meeting area where I've got like drink and food in these different areas as well. Anything we build of value gets put into this room because it makes the dwarves feel happy. So I've got all these pedestals with different artifacts and things on the actual on the pedestal itself. So I can have a look and see, what this is. And this is a nice bracelet, all crafted of the highest quality, blah blah blah. So this is actually, this is of extremely high value. Now, eventually, what will happen here is that these will then become targeted by criminals to try to come and steal them. So we have to be also wary of that. A bit further back across, we have our temples down through this other side, and then the other temples, which were the higher level with priests in this particular region down through here. In through this other side, I did just create some beds initially, just like when I first was creating the fortress. I always like to just have a few beds around just for dwarves to sleep on, and we may need to still just keep them there for a little while. We made our main well here, and where I make the well, I want to have the hospital fairly close. So our hospital is in here where the two kids were taken once they were mauled, and we had to then lock them in because we knew that they were going to be turning into were-bisons. So the well goes down through this little hole all the way down into this layer. We've got like a wall grate there, and up on this, yeah, and that's sort of locked in. So that technically is still actually a weakness. Something could come in and break this wall grate, and then come up through the staircase all the way up to the top of the top into here, into the actual well. So there's always going to be little things. Where people have actually died different deaths, I've sort of just put in, so this is Adrian Sotier, one of the farmer was actually killed in this region, so I've just put a tomb there. Obviously, you can do whatever you like with tombs. So I thank you there, Began, for the gifted sub. So we've got our hospital in here. The reason I make the hospitals like this with the where I've got like a two-zone area where I've got like doors in through this other side. You can see I've got doors that haven't been built in here just yet. The reason I do this is so that I can always put a block, and I keep like some blocks in here just to block it off in case we end up with something that can bash open doors. It can't bash open actual walls. So these kids actually, I don't need to block them in like this. I can just lock the door. But I forgot that I had these doors that still weren't actually here yet. So ultimately we need to, like that, he would just run down this staircase across and then back up into here again. So I need to ultimately get all of these things working properly. I'm going to need to build hatches on each of these as well, actually, just so I can lock in the room, which I might just do now, actually. Just so I can actually sort of keep everything under control. So if I just go across into my doors and hatches, just go to hatches. I'm in the planning mode. I've only got 3 available at the moment, but I do want to just place them across these. There we go. I don't know if I can actually get into that. I think I can. Yeah, this one is not available just yet. And then we'll be wanting to ultimately put them in here as well. I'll just go and do that as well. Doors and hatches. So some of these can't be accessed, but I'll just go and place them there, just so we've got them there for the future. So these kids, we need to get away from the hospital, and so we've made ourselves an area here with an open space where we can actually then sort of throw rubbish down or whatever we want them to have. If that then ends up in this room, and then we lock off these doors, they'll then live the rest of their lives in this room here. So that will be the room for them. And ultimately, once that's all been done, so this kid here escaped. Actually, they both escaped at different times, but they haven't transformed into were creatures. We've been able to control what they've been doing. So anyway, they're back safe and secure at this point in time, but not for long. This one has got access. Actually, I can't even get this one done, because as soon as I open one of these doors, this kid's going to get out. So I really need to somehow manage what happens here. After they transform, they lose all their clothing, and so they will come back for their clothing afterwards. So I can sort of deal with it a little bit, but this is not ideal. I sort of made a mistake with these by letting them out. Anyway, that's that layer. We then go up. We've got bedroom layer back in through here. So this is the main bedrooms for the dwarves in this particular region. We've got the mayoral quarters are in through here, and then we're making the baron quarters for Began in through this other side. Just while we're here, I'll just go and make that all smooth. And then we'll just keep on finishing off this fairly soon. And so Began is going to need, like, as the new baron, he needs certain rooms with certain quality, and we'll go through that when we actually get to look at those. That at the moment is the top of that part of the fortress. We come back down. In this case, we actually have, that's the other hospital below the hospital. So I've got different areas in through here where I've just opened things up, mainly so I can get like different rocks. I've sort of run out of rocks at different places. This is my main storage for building things now, so I've got those in through there. This has actually all been laid out for my steel industry, so we actually are making all of our armour is now being sort of built down through here. And below this layer, we actually then have all of our different, like we've got the metalsmith forges, we've got wood furnaces, glass furnace, kilns. So these are all things to do with the steel making industry, and we've got a couple of smelters as well. These are actually like make steel bars, for example. So these have all got different jobs to do, but they just automatically get done. So we're sort of slowly building things up. We also then have our siege workshop, where we can start to build the siege equipment and the siege weaponry. Back over through here, we've got our basic workshops up this other side. So that's just for the basic workshops where they're then building all the stuff that when they build it, it just gets placed into this big stockpile. Down this way, we've got our kitchens, and so we've got the kitchens down this way. Over this side, we've got ourselves the farmer's workshop for shearing the animals. Our clothing industry is down in here. The soap making industry is down this way. Leather industry down this other side, with leather armor getting ready. So we're just only starting to sort of pick up what we need here for making leather armor. You can see there that we've got like different low boots and leather and stuff that's been sort of created in this particular region. And so these are as we get leather, this is actually the butcher shops. So the butcher, the tanner, another butcher shop there. Animals in through here. So as we sort of kill off the animals, or as there's too many animals, they then just get butchered in one of these, get taken down to the tanner. Into the tanner. The tanner then gives the leather down into here. The leather is then converted into armor for the archers. That's sort of where that one also goes. Thank you, Tailsly Fox, there for the subs there. Very, very much appreciated. Orangutans is redeemed, name a character. I don't think I'm in the fort. I thought you were, but we'll have a look and just double check in just a second. So anyway, that's sort of that's that part of the fortress. We go a bit further down. This is storage for food. This is going to be mainly just storage again on the next layer down. This is like a rubbish storage area where we've got sort of like things. Now this is actually full now of bones. We've got a corpse stockpile here, a refuse stockpile here. Now I've got too much refuse in this other side. While there's no danger, I'm just going to go and get rid of a lot of this stuff because I don't need these skeletons. I don't need all these skeletons. I need some of them for crafting, but I don't need all of them. So what I can do here is just go across into the dump mode and just go and tell them to go and dump a heap of those things. So they'll then just get taken to wherever the actual dump in the fortress actually is, which I've forgotten actually where that is, but anyway. And so in through here, that just goes into other storage rooms, into this other side as well. Come back down. This is actually an area. This is our dungeons. So anything when the justice menu sort of is, when the justice side kicks in, we actually have different areas here, like for the sheriff and then the hammerer. These are the two guys that then deal with justice in the fortress. Go further down. This is a whole lot of catacombs that we've made from the old fortress. This is actually a second go at this fortress. We had a siege where everyone was killed, and so there's a lot of old dead people in here that were from the previous fortress, and so they've sort of all been just placed in this particular catacomb. So we've been slowly burying them as we sort of came into the fortress itself. So we've got this big catacomb down in here, which is, as I said before, just really for the old bodies from when we came back to reclaim the fortress. It's pretty cool that we can do that. Anyway, that's sort of where we are. So let's now go back to some of the questions. Sorry, guys. So we had... actually on YouTube, KData Sensing, I'm curious what makes Dwarf Fortress fun once you get past the learning curve. It's just that you don't know what's going to happen. It's actually more like you're watching a movie of, like you're not really in control. All you're doing is doing the best you can to sort of establish it. So it's not really something like, even with the way that this is all laid out, like it looks very, very structured, and it is structured, but all sorts of bad things can go wrong. Like you just don't know what's going to happen. So it's actually looking at it's actually the story that I think makes it fun. Like, and not knowing exactly what's going to happen with it. Makes it really, really quite interesting as to how do you, like, when do you commit your military? When do you try to block off things? How do you make things secure? And every map is unique as well, so you don't know exactly what's going to happen. Like even like on this map here, we're quite lucky because we've got the ability to make steel, which then gives us a very, very powerful equipment. But we haven't really finessed that properly yet. So all we've been doing is just churning out steel equipment, but we haven't been churning out high quality steel equipment, which has another big bearing on the ability of the actual dwarves themselves. And what else do we have? We've got the, let's just keep on going up to the other questions, sorry. And so, Chris, you actually asked, I have bought this game, how to approach it? I know nothing. Is adventure mode a good place? No, adventure mode is not a good place to begin. The adventure mode is probably after you've played the fortress mode a little bit. You can then sort of play adventure mode, but adventure mode will frustrate the crap out of you when you first start playing it. I actually don't really like playing it, to be honest, just because it is so frustrating. So, I did a video the other day, like 2 days ago, I think, as a tutorial for it. It was 5 hours, so I do mean to go back in if I can find the time to actually put down an index of what we covered there. But that does go through a lot of the basic sort of stuff, and we didn't even get to build bedrooms or anything like that. So, like it was, so it is a big learning curve to go through it. But it's good fun. Like it's a really fun game. Try not to get too caught up in trying to do the right thing. If you try to get too caught up in building things a certain way, you won't enjoy it. Whereas if you just stumble your way through, it's quite good fun to just discover a lot of the things yourself, and then try to figure out, oh, why did my dwarves all starve, or why did my dwarves, like, the reason why they end up dying is actually the interesting thing, or why are they so unhappy, like what can I do to make them happier? Things like that makes it sort of, it's interesting in the way that it sort of does work. Thanks for the bits there, Tails Sly Fox. And Chris, you asked another question. So just checking, Des, how would you advise me to learn the game? Adventure mode? No, don't do adventure mode. Do adventure mode after you've gotten used to fortress mode. Fortress mode is is really the basic part of it. And look, you can. I like to give myself themes for when I go in and build a fortress. And we've got ourselves like a fairly dangerous area in this particular fortress that we're sort of in. So we've sort of, it shouldn't be an easy run. It's been pretty easy up until now, but certain things will happen. Like that werebison, it just, we didn't know that was going to come in. We couldn't really protect against that one, but we had to just get everyone sort of back down and charging into, to try to sort of secure the fortress when it was already too late, essentially. But we held on. Everything sort of was working. But quite often you'll get clues, like, let's just check and see if orangutans is in here first. We'll just go back to our citizens list, and we'll just go by name. Yep, orangutans library is already there. Processing plants. So you're one of the animal caretakers there. So that's all happening back in through that side. So I'll sort of take your redemption back out of there, orangutans. So you are in the fort. Orangutan saying it's 99% relaxing and 1% sheer panic. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You don't have to. I'll just redeem it now. I'll just go back out. So we're still live. That's good. That's a good sign. It looks like we've fixed the problem. So I'll just reject and refund. Private Joe had one from a couple of days ago, but that was for, I forget which game that was for, actually. It might be for this one, actually. I think it may be for Dwarf Fortress, because it was about the timing. Let me have a look, and I'll just make sure that if Private Joe has got a character in here. Private Joe was the guy. I can show you where Private Joe's old body is. And so Private Joe was banned for half an hour because he died in the outside here. We go to the one hostile that we have. He was killed by this Forgotten Beast. If we have a look at the Forgotten Beast, this thing is 500 years old. It's a monster. Didn't feel anything while in conflict. Didn't feel anything after experiencing trauma. And so that conflict that it's had has been with a few different things. If we go back across into its, this is all every unit, whether it be a dwarf or anyone that visits, or Forgotten Beast, any creature will actually have all these different things. Relations, there's no relationships. Groups, it's not part of any groups. Military-wise, it doesn't have a squad or uniform. It does have kills though, and so there we go. One notable kill, Private Joe. So Private Joe Ground Prince the Dwarf died in 304. So when this Forgotten Beast came, Private Joe went outside, and the Forgotten Beast cornered it and killed it. It killed him very, very quickly. So that's the kills in the military. Thoughts, we sort of get like very basic things because it's sort of more of an animal. His personality doesn't really matter for these sorts of things. The overview is the summary of different bits and pieces. It won't have any items. Its health, we can look at the description to just sort of see what it's got. This is a gigantic hairy sauropod. It has a spiral shell and it squirms and fidgets. Its river blue hair is long and wavy. Maybe where it's poisonous bite. So it does poison when it bites. It is strong and agile. Its right rear leg is dented. Its right rear foot is dented. Now, dented in the game essentially means that it's been scarred. So when you see dented, it's a wound that is healed. And so you can see down through there, its right rear foot bears a tiny curving scar, and its right rear leg bears a tiny curving scar. Now, that will have come through from one of the fights that it's had, and it's probably been recent enough that we can actually have a look and see its history of fighting. So if you have a bit of a look through into here, the furthest one it goes back is killing off a Drather. Let's see if there's anything with. I don't know if Private Joe is still going to be in here. It's a Drather is the only thing that's actually we sort of see back through there. Yeah, so we don't actually. It's already kicks the Drather in the upper body. I'm not sure how it got its little scar, but anyway, that's the. We can't sort of see what's actually going on through there. But Private Joe is his body. We can't go outside and retrieve it, so it is out here somewhere. Where is it? Down this way from memory. So he ended up looking for stuff back out here. I can't remember where. Actually, yeah, there's a cave crocodile there. That forgotten beast should target this. Should hunt that one down. But I'm not seeing it. There's a cave spider there. I'm sure it's in around here somewhere. Oh, there it is. There we go. So that is all of Private Joe's stuff. We've got Private Joe's mangled skeleton. And so Private Joe was killed by the Forgotten Beast. So there we go. That's his mangled skeleton in through there. Which we can't sort of get any real history back on Private Joe from that one through there. But it's sort of all, this is now part of the legend of that particular group that's actually in there. Okay, so yes, and Orangutan saying the Siege has updated the Forgotten Beast graphics. Yes, no, we've now got coloured Forgotten Beast, which is quite cool. So anyway, that's what happened to Private Joe. So he was then banned. We have if you're sort of new to the channel, we have a DasDemption. If you end up with a named dwarf and your dwarf gets killed, you get banned for half an hour. That's the price. So you've got skin in the game. So he was out here collecting webs. Essentially, was what he was looking for, and he got too close. He got too close to the Forgotten Beast. Anyway, let's continue on up. So we can't get his body. So one thing we have been doing is, if we just go back up to F2, as the different people come across, this is we've got different ghosts that have come through. A lot of these are old, but there should be one here for Private Joe, I think. Final rabbit. No, we haven't yet. We're ultimately going to need to because he will come back as a ghost and start haunting the fortress. Not that it matters that much, but it does make him a little bit unhappy. So there was a question right at the very, very start as to whether the dwarves are all unique or how they actually operate. They're completely unique. So if we have a look, we've got like 9 dwarves that are very, very unhappy. And so we can find out why they're unhappy. I'll just show you a little bit of this. I'm not worrying too much about them. If I go back in, this is the happiness scale. And so we've got some dwarves that are incredibly happy with their jobs. So often the mining dwarves will be very happy, but actually I'm not seeing any miners in that group. But yeah, most of the people are actually quite happy that are actually in through here. But if I click it again, we then get the ones that are very, very angry. So we actually have a couple of them are unhappy. I'm thinking 2 of these will possibly be the werebisons, so they will actually be unhappy. So that's nothing we can do about those. We have so I think that those top 2 are the werebisons, I think. Now this dwarven child here, I won't worry about the kids, but if we have a look at this one here, we have a new recruit who's very, very unhappy. Now this can be a bit unstable. We did have one dwarf that actually became aggressive. Actually, a lot of the dwarven children are unhappy as well. to see if there's someone that's... Yakuja Grim we've tried to put in as a minor, just to try to actually keep... to try to improve the happiness by getting it mining, which will then sort of hopefully make it a bit happier. Resmal in the Planter is also unhappy. We have a look at this one here. This is a recruit. So Ezreal, this one hasn't been named. If we just go across. So this one is in here listening to a story. So just go to Ezreal. There's 3 of them actually in this little region. And so if we go and have a look at her thoughts, for example, we can then sort of go and see... so she's euphoric after inebriation, so she's had some of the drink that's here. Satisfied after discussing her problems with an acquaintance. Felt pleasure while performing. She felt lonely after being away from family for too long. So we're starting to get clues, like anything that's sort of like this sort of orangey colour will then be things that are will be a bit of a problem. Resentful dwelling upon seeing X6 dead body. So this is actually one of the original members of the group. Memories are like long-term issues that they've got, or long-term positives or negatives. This is sort of like this shapes them largely. So in the spring of 303, she was resentful dwelling upon seeing like a dead body when she came into the fortress. Became more hateful and learned to value sacrifice after seeing that. Blissful, remembering dining in a good dining room, which is sort of, this is the dining room here. Remembering sleeping in a great bedroom, so the bedroom that she's been sleeping in has been good. Uneasy dwelling upon being haunted by the dead. So she was haunted by one of the ghosts, which we have to then make a slab for to stop the ghost from haunting her. And so she was haunted in the autumn of 303. In the summer of 304, she was blissfully remembered sleeping in a great bedroom again. Sympathy remembered bringing somebody to rest in bed, probably one of the kids maybe, like that were attacked. And then blissful remembering dining in a good dining room. So I can't do much about why she's unhappy, and hopefully she'll just slowly come good over time. And so we've got other things, for example, like her personality. We can see things like, for example, her needs. So overall, she's somewhat focused on with satisfied needs. So there's nothing really in here that tells me what I can do to make her happy. I'm not really focusing too much on making the dwarves happy unless they become a problem. So she wanted to acquire something, but we don't know what that is. So she's unfocused after being able to acquire something. She is unfocused after unable to practice a craft. And she's unfocused after unable to practice a martial art. So there's a few different things. She's distracted from being away from family. So there's different stuff in here that keeps on coming up as well with her different needs. So if she's trying to acquire something, what we can do is go to her preferences. So like gypsum, billion, pineapple, opal, papyrus, short swords, amulets, and guinea foals for their social nature. When possible, she prefers to consume herring and whip wine. So there's nothing much we can do about that. Values, yeah. So there's all sorts of different stuff in here, just with her. She personally finds sacrifice to be one of the highest ideals, strengthening after seeing this sort of stuff. Now, if we go back into, so she also got traits and stuff like this as well. So you can, if you're really wanting to, you can actually go and delve deeply, just try to see what you can do to make individuals happy. I don't tend to worry too much about that. If we go to her skill set, we can then sort of see, maybe we can get a bit of a clue as to what skill she was wanting to do that she couldn't do. And these are all the different stuff that she's got, like most of them are just level 0. The only thing that she's any good at is planting, which is fine. She'll be able to do that one. Animal caretaker. Now, she's actually rusty with that. And that may be something where she hasn't been able to do the caretaking of animals. Which I'm not going to let her do, I don't think. And then competent wood burner in through here. But I don't think that's a skill that she'd be wanting to sort of focus on. So I'm not sure what skill it was that she actually had. That's her labour skills. Combat, she doesn't have any just yet. Social skills, these are things that she can then do socially. Other skills, dabbling student, dabbling concentration, and then knowledge. She's got like different stories that she knows. So anyway, there's nothing much we can do for her really at this stage. So I could go through all of the dwarves and actually just check them out like that, but I'm not going to worry. They can look after themselves to a large degree. Okay, so Beacon was saying she wanted to take care of the animal, and that it said that she loved for their social nature. Was it a particular animal, was it? Where was that? That was under... maybe under skills or under personality. Does she have a pet? I'm not seeing it there. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's like she doesn't have the ability here, but she's actually part of our military anyway, so she's going to have to just do what she's going to have to do. Anyway, that's sort of where we have. So these guys, I'm not really focusing much on what's happening in here. They're all just congregating. We've got visitors that have come in from the outside. We'll go back now to just the military and just quickly go through that as well. It's been a little while since we've looked at those. We have 3 different groups. So we actually have, in fact, that guy there looks to be the guy in charge. So we've got the Embattled Axe, which is sort of like our main military. The Roar of Rage is a secondary group that we actually have as well. And then we have actually got the Cursed Bolts, which are going to be the group that is going to be ultimately sort of training in the top of the fortress. So if we have a look at these guys, I've got 5 of them. And there's Ezreal there. So these are going to be the archers, and they're all going to be wearing leather armor. So they're sort of so that's the Cursed Bolts. But I'll just go back to the squads. If I go and click on that one, look at their equipment, we can see there that they've all got. We've made it like a ranger's uniform for them, which is going to be sort of like just leather equipment. So most of them have got what they need. They don't have any arch. Sorry, they've got. Sorry, it's picking up the stuff underneath there. If I go and have a look at the details here of this is Sedgehammer, the militia captain. Look at the items. So they've going to have copper crossbows, but they don't actually have any actual bolts. So we need to make bolts, and this is one thing we haven't actually made in the fortress. And look, copper bolts are going to be fine for that. So we've got a fair bit of copper, I think. So let's just quickly go and do that before we sort of start to go and deal with the other bits and pieces. Where are we? Sorry, I keep on. Just go back down. So F3 takes me down to this. F3 takes me to the workshop layer. And so when I have a look at this one, the copper bolts will need to be from the layer above. We've got heaps of copper. So we need to start to now make lots and lots of bolts. And then the bolts are going to have to then be stored somewhere. And so what I'm going to need to do is this one here is just a furniture stockpile, which is not what we need. If I go back up to the top again, F2, and then just go across this one through here. This is custom. It will actually have it's got armor, has been sort of like, we've turned off metal armor. Furniture and siege ammo, we've turned off blister parts. That's okay, we'll just leave them out of there. Leather is still here. I don't want leather. I'm just going to go none, because all the leather should be down near the leather making area. So I'm turning things off as we finish with them. Weapons and trap components. Now this is, if we go and have a look, one thing I do want to stop doing here, I've got metal where anything that's made out of steel and steel, silver. I'm going to now put copper in that list as well, just to stop anything from copper being put in this particular stockpile, which will then include, if we go back to the actual weapons themselves, we've got the crossbows. So it won't matter, because I'm actually now, anything that's made out of copper won't be stored in here. So we don't have the ammunition there. Where does the ammunition come in? Is that finished goods? I forget where, it's got quivers and things. That's not what we need. There's stuff in here as well, actually. So the finished goods here, if I just go back to metal, I really don't want to have finished goods of copper, gold, iron, pig iron, silver or steel. I'll just get rid of those things, just so we don't end up with finished goods in here. In fact, the finished goods, we have to be a bit careful, because we really want to put most of the basic finished goods in the top of the fortress, so we can trade with them. Oops, hang on. Sorry about that. F2. Let's go back across this stockpile again. Custom. Ammo, there it is. So what I want to do is I want to not have any bolts here. So I'll just go and, because bolts are what we need for what we have to have. So I'm going to go down now to the actual well, I can do it. I can actually set up the work order a couple of different ways. So let's just go and create a new work order. So we're going to create a work order for bolts, and that's going to be done at the Metalsmith's Forge. And so we're going to be forging, and in this, I'll just put bolts. Bolts. You can see there's different things. And so we want to make forge copper bolts, and through that other side. That will now go to the bottom of the list. So forge 10 copper bolts at a time. I'm actually happy with that, to be making that 10 at a time. Let's now just go and change the parameters of how this is then going to be sort of forged. So we need to have the amount of copper bolts. We're going to have to put a limit on how many we actually have in the fortress. The amount of copper bars, we're going to need to know how many of those are. And it's going to need refined coal as well. I'm going to keep them is greater than 10 and copper bars is greater than 10 as well. I might make that a little bit higher actually. I'll make this one say greater than say 50. So when we've got more than 50 copper, we will then be able to then go and do this. We've got a lot of copper in here. Actually 50 may be too much. Just make it say 30. Just so that way we've got a reserve of 30 copper bars if we do need them. The copper bolts, now the copper bolts is less than 10. We've got none at the moment, but I want this to be a fairly high number. So I'm going to make this one say around about maybe 500. So when it's less than, it's going to keep on building copper bolts now until we have 500 of them. And now we need to store them somewhere. And so we're going to store them in the top of the fortress for those particular guys. So we'll just go back up. And I'll just go back up to the very, very top of the fortress, and I'll create like a stockpile here for the actual copper bolts. Accept, and this will be for ammo. And then we're going to customize. And from the types, I'm just going to go none, and then just go to bolts, and just so we only bolts will be placed up in here. So we'll end up with, this will be where we end up putting all of the copper bolts when they're actually created. So that will be all we need to do there. All right, so that's fine. And ultimately we're going to be needing to get training bolts and stuff like that as well. But I'll just leave that. This will be essentially where we want the bolts to be for if they need to replenish their weaponry. Okay, back we go. Let's. What else do we need to do? We need to set up Began's rooms. F4, does that take us to the bedroom layer? Yeah, it does. These guys aren't smoothing anything just yet. I'll just unpause the fortress. Just let these guys actually do their job. So everyone from the fortress is now just coming in to smooth the walls. We have a lot of dwarves that aren't doing much. So we'll set, this is, now that we've got like Began's areas are going to have to be like set up a certain way. We've got all this rock and stuff from when we had sort of done all this. Now, we've done all the smoothing, they're all now moved off. So this is going to be Began's quarters and his consort as well. So let's see if there's any other questions there. Anyway, what we need to do in here is we've made these big rooms, and if we have a quick look, I've just actually got 2 hostiles now. Oh, there's the other Forgotten Beast. So we've got another Forgotten Beast down below the fortress, which is fine. F3, F4. F4 is where we actually have this bedroom. So this is going to be the quarters for the Baron. So, and what we need to do with those is to establish different rooms with different furniture and things in them. Now, if we go and have a look at the actual nobility, the nobles and administrators menu, what we'll see is for all the different administrators in the fortress, they've all got different needs. And so when I hover over, for example, Adrian Sotir is the hammerer in the fortress and needs to have a study. He's got a decent study, so it's better than just a normal study. He needs quarters, he's got quarters, and he needs a dining room. He's got a fine dining room. So he's got specific things that he now has where he can go and eat his own food and do stuff like that. But when we look up at Began actually doesn't have what he needs. He's got a bedroom, sort of. So at the moment, when we hover over any of these things, we get a long list of stuff that he actually requires. And so he's got, he needs a decent study, he's got no study. He needs decent quarters, he's got modest quarters at the moment. He needs a decent dining room, he's got no dining room, and he needs a tomb. And so we need to actually build a tomb somewhere in the fortress. Doesn't have to be where we are, but you can see down through there we need essentially the study is the throne room for him. So we can place that again. It doesn't have to be in amongst his bedrooms. So for orangutan, it'd be cheaper to send Began down to greet the Forgotten Beast. He'd probably actually defeat it, to be honest. Began's quite strong in the fortress at this stage. He's very, very powerful. So we'll have a look and see. I'll go back up and show you his skill set. But he's actually he's a mace lord, so he probably would be able to defeat that Forgotten Beast, I would guess. We should test it, shouldn't we? Anyway, so with these sorts of things, so he needs all this stuff done. He also needs, when I hover over this last one, he needs 2 chests, he needs 1 cabinet, 1 weapon rack, and 1 armor stand. So he needs a few different things as well in his room. This is not that difficult to fulfill, but if he becomes higher level, like a duke or a monarch or something like that, over time, these things here that we're going to be building will become more pronounced. So we'll need to have more. By smoothing off, and we haven't actually established that this is his bedroom yet, so let's just go and do that. So we're going to have the study, the dining hall, and then the bedroom in here, and then the tomb we're going to have to build somewhere else. So we'll just go into our zones. So when you're trying to place an actual room itself, the rooms are all created through zones. So place zones to establish meeting areas, pastures, and more. So a lot of the so if you need a specific area, if I go and click on that one, we'll see that all of these bedrooms are all bedroom zones. This into here for the mayor, we've got a bedroom zone over here. We've got a dining hall, and we have essentially a study in this other side. We need to do the same thing over here for Began. And so we have to sort of dress these things up. So most of the areas in the fortress will ultimately have zones. So I'm just going to go and create the study in through this other side. So let's just go and build as we sort of come back through. So we've got meeting areas. Meeting area, we've got the office. So the office is the study. This will be like the throne room. Just go and place that one there. We'll accept. And so the way I can assign this, I can actually assign it specifically to Began from here, or I can auto-assign because of DF hack to the Baron, Count, or Duke. So this is the one that we want to have, which will then give Baron and his consort that particular room. That's now their study. So that's like their throne room. In through here now we'll actually go and create the area for the. Actually, I didn't get that wall. I might just. They don't like sharing the walls can be a little bit of an issue. I might just repaint this. In fact, I'll make it even bigger again. Just let them override that one. We'll just go and accept. So this is ultimately sort of just sharing the wall. It just means that the value of that smoothed wall will then be added into the value of his room. And so that's the office. We'll now just go across to the dining hall. Go and create another dining hall in here. Accept, and this one is we've got an overlapping dining hall in through that other side, but this is going to be Baron. So we end up having essentially a bit of it's got a bit of an error, but it won't really matter that much. So they've got that dining hall, and then we've got this next one down through here where we've then go and create the bedroom. So this will be just go and right click, zone, bedroom, accept. And again, auto-assign to the Baron, Count, or Duke. That just means that if Began gets replaced by somebody else, they'll then take these quarters. So now when we have a look and see what's actually happened with that, if we go back to the Nobility screen again, we'll now see that we actually don't have quite enough what we need. He needs a decent study, and all he's got is a meagre study. He needs he needs decent quarters. He's got modest quarters, and he needs a decent dining room. He's only got meagre dining room. So the value of these rooms are not good enough yet for Began. So we need to dress them up. We can dress them up in all sorts of different ways, but one of the easiest ways is either to engrave things into the flooring, for example, or to replace the floor with gold or something like. Gold is the easiest way to do it. And so we don't have a tomb yet. We'll have to go and establish that one. And we do need to also then go and establish these armor stands, weapon racks, cabinets, the 2 chests. So I'll go and just position those, and we need, of course, a bed. We also need a table and like a table and chair in through here as well. So we need the. This is sort of like the basic area for an office. So we'll do the same thing in here.